worth fighting for. Some things you have to put all your heart, soul, body, mind, and spirit into. Some things the enemy can take from you, and you don't put up much fight. Some things he can just take it. You ain't gonna put up much fight. Take the car. I'm not gonna fight you over a car. I'll get another one. Take that old piece of job that you think is the greatest job on earth. I'm not going to fight you over. I'll get another job. You don't have to give me a promotion. I know I've been doing a good job, and I'm going to continue to do a good job. I'm not going to fight you over a promotion. In due time, I'll get a promotion. I'll get another one. I ain't going to fight you over it. But I want you to listen to me good right here, church. There are some things that are worth fighting for. And the measuring stick, the measuring rod for the things you have to fight for is this. Whatever the enemy is trying to take from me, I've got to ask myself one simple question. If the enemy takes it away from me, can I get another one? Those are the things, when you answer that question, whatever the enemy is trying to take from me, can I get another one? Some things are worth fighting for, because if you lose them, you can't get another one. I want to lift up 3 things in this text, and I'm going to sit down. 3 things that if you lose, you can't get another one. And that is the reason some things are worth fighting for. The first thing I want to lift up to you is that your faith is worth fighting for. Your faith is worth fighting for. When the enemy came with his threats, one of the first things Nehemiah told the people was, remember the Lord who is great and awesome. Don't forget God. If you do, you will lose your faith or have it taken away. Faith is something that you can't get back if it's taken away. If it's taken, you can't get your faith back. I hear some of y'all arguing with me. But Pastor, I can backslide and come back. But that ain't what I'm talking about. I'm talking about somebody taking it from you. An enemy. You losing it is one thing, but someone taking it away from you is another. I don't have anything but Jesus. I don't know anybody but God. If you take that away, I don't have anything to stand on. Nothing else works for me. I don't know about anybody else, but nothing else works for me. So if I allow you to take that away, you can't give me a viable alternative. So if you try to take from me Jesus and the Christian faith, I'm going to have to fight you on that one. We're going to have to fight. But now let me tell you what that looks like, fighting for your faith. There are people in here, and I'm going to look away because I ain't talking about nobody, and I ain't trying to get in nobody's business. But there are people in here who are married to spouses who don't go to church, don't believe, and they don't think you ought to go either. There are people in here who are made fun of because you go to church. Friends think you a square because you love Jesus, and what he did for you means something to you. There are people in here who are being pulled away from the church by people who always want to keep you from your commitment to God that you know and they know is serious. They always have some enticing and tempting thing for you to do whenever you have to go and do it. They always want to tell you how unimportant church service is. Some people will always try to convince you that the church, God, and Christianity really isn't helping you. And what they will do if you let them is they will beat you up and beat you down and take the fight right out of you. How do you fight back? Because your faith is worth fighting for. If somebody takes away Jesus, what do you have? If somebody takes away Jesus, where do you go? To the club? To the mall? To the dope house? How do you fight for your faith? I'll tell you what you do. Nehemiah said, remember God. When they try to pull you away, you try to pull them towards the church. When they make fun of you, just be a witness. Tell them you may be square, but at least you ain't lost. When they try to keep you from your commitments, you find your way to serve and to give. Find your way to Bible study. Commit yourself to tithing every time the temptations comes on you to spend money on stupid stuff that won't bless you. Some of us aren't fighting. And we aren't remembering what God has already done. Some of us are punching bags. And we let people talk us out of our faith. But you got to be tougher than that. I said you got to be tougher than that. You have to remember what God has done for you. You know it was God who saw you through. It wasn't your friends. It wasn't your clubbing buddies. It was God who healed you when you were sick. It was God who made it right when your money was wrong. It was God who saw you through when nobody else came through. You ain't no chump when it comes to knowing and remembering God. God has done great things for you. Stand up and fight. Remember God. Secondly, your family is worth fighting for. When you lose family, you can't get a replacement. I hear some of y'all argue with me again. I said, when you lose family, you can't get a replacement. But Pastor, you can replace your family. Folk remarry and get new families all the time. Again, that ain't what I'm talking about. I'm talking about someone taking your family. I'm talking about folk who want to take your children's future. I'm talking about systems like the one here in America who stack the deck and discriminate against your sons and your daughters in the classroom and in the courtroom. I'm talking about folks who think nothing of continuing and extending your slavery here in America by turning back civil rights gains that were won by people who were bitten by dogs and broken by brutality from sworn public protectors. I'm talking about people taking away the future of your children by making it impossible and unreachable for them to own their own home. They have no access to jobs, and the jobs they will work, you couldn't afford to care for a dog on that money. But yet we don't say a word about our condition and the future of our children. Other folk will fight for our future, but we won't. Other folk will demand justice in our jails so that people aren't choked and battered and killed in the Denver Justice Center, but we won't. We're going to have to leave something behind for our children. What examples are we going to leave behind? What will they see from us? What will they hear from us? What did we do? That's what the children are going to ask. What did we fight for? Concert tickets? Red and blue bandanas? Imaginary turf that doesn't even belong to us? Position and status in the church that make us feel important because we're insecure at home and at work? What will our children see us fighting for? We are a long way from resembling folks in the Bible. Some folk walk around as though they are characters straight out of Nehemiah. We're a long way from resembling those folk. Some of us, as black folk, will stand up for everybody but ourselves. We won't make it better for our children and grandchildren if they never see us fighting for anything. Their education is worth fighting for. Their safety everywhere is worth fighting for. Men and fathers, you can't be scared to fight because you don't want people to think you are radical. You can't be scared to speak up because you don't want people to think that you are that black. Your enemy respects you less and will dog you worse when you don't stand up and fight for your own. He thinks you're impotent and less than a man when you won't stand up and fight for the rights and freedoms of your sons and daughters and your wives. Don't be scared to be black. That's who God made you. These Jews in Nehemiah's time, they were not ashamed to be Jews, and they were not ashamed to be identified as such, and they were not afraid to fight. Your families are worth fighting for. Some things are worth fighting for. You lose children to this system in any way, and you can't get that child back. You can have another baby if you want to, but you can't get that child back. You can make another one, but you can't replace the hopes and dreams, the spirit and the soul of the one you lost. Some things are worth fighting for. Fight for your children. Every one of them, fight for them. Lastly, your freedom is worth fighting for. This rebuilding project was all about Jerusalem's freedom. It was about protection, but it was about them one day being free to worship and serve their God in the city of their ancestors. Building the wall was really about them breaking out of bondage. It was a project of liberation. We need, as black folk, a project of liberation. Have I got a witness here? We need to quit talking and focusing so much on our bondage. Yes, we got bondage. But God can do some of God's greatest work with those who are in bondage. Quit using your bondage as an excuse. Bondage may block you, but bondage doesn't block God. Bondage is just another reason to fight for your freedom. Bondage has never blocked God. If you don't believe me, just ask Paul and Silas about the miraculous prayer meeting they had while locked away in bondage. You don't have to ask Paul and Silas